Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. I want to welcome everybody to our show this evening. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is now 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're about a half hour later than I wanted to be, but we're here on the air with you today. I have a lot of things I want to discuss with you. I would ask for your patience and time so we can get to all the things we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about a lot of things that may impact you, a lot of things that are going to impact you. Okay? We're going to talk about Cascadia earthquakes as well. We're going to talk about what happened in Minnesota last night. We're going to talk about the Eric Estrada funeral in Logan, Utah today. That's a lot. Okay. So please bear with me about this. Some parts you may not want to hear, but please stay tuned anyway. Okay. Now, if you like what we're doing, please hit that thumbs up button. Hitting the thumbs up button doesn't cost you a thing. If you like what we're doing here on this channel, also please subscribe to this channel as well. Subscribe, and when you hit the subscription button, there's a little bell icon, just a little bell icon. Click on that, okay? Clicking on the little bell icon will get you a drop-down menu of 3 items. When you see those 3 items, click on the word ALL, all. That will get you subscribed to our channel. That will get you notified when we come on the air as well. It's very important. Now, folks that haven't been to this channel before, that are seeing this channel maybe for the first time, we talk about emergencies. We talk about disasters that can befall you. We talk about earthquakes. We talk about tornadoes. We talk about hurricanes. We talk about very bad snowstorms. We talk about fires. And we talk about flooding and rain. We talk about it all. Why? Because those things may affect you. Those things could affect you and alter your life. We talk about that so you can give you the heads up you need to prepare for whatever is going to happen. On Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, we talk about emergency preparedness as well. So be tuned for that. Okay? Early this morning at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, we had a man that died on August 17th. Officer Eric Estrada died on August 17th. Now, there was another man that also died on August 17th that same evening. Let me bring up his picture right now. Oh, doggone it. I hate it when that does that. Hold on a second. It's only going to take a second here. A man named Lee Sorensen. Both of these officers were shot and killed while trying to respond to a domestic dispute in Tremont, Utah. Okay? Sergeant Sorensen was the first to respond. He responded, and the gunman there took his life. So Officer Estrada responded as his backup unit. Okay? Officer Estrada was also killed. One other officer went there with the canine unit. He was also shot, and he survived with his canine unit. His canine was also shot and injured. Both of them survived. Okay? We're very thankful for that. But Officer Estrada's funeral was today. I was part of that funeral episode today. I want to talk about it. I feel highly motivated to talk about this. Officer Estrada was named Estrada, Eric Estrada. He went by the name Chips. Okay? His nickname was Chips because he wasn't named after Eric Estrada, but his name was Eric Estrada. And the same name as the actor that played Eric Estrada, or played punch on ships. The 1970s, 80s police story about two California Highway Patrol motor officers. Okay, but Eric Estrada and Sergeant Lee Sorensen were shot and killed while responding to a domestic violence call in Tremont, Utah on August 17th. Today, Officer Estrada's life is being remembered and honored. He was a son, he was a brother, he was a husband, and he was a father, and a very proud police officer. He was a training officer. He trained officers right directly out of the police academy, and one of his trainees spoke at his funeral today. He loved serving the community. He loved serving his family. He loved serving everybody. He took responsibility seriously, and he carried it with pride. As Jesus said, he carried it with pride. His brother's name was Jesus. His brother shared that he and Officer Estrada enjoyed watching movies together and playing soccer and baseball. Out of all the roles that he played in life, he was most proud of being a husband and a dad. Those were his primary duties, he felt. Officer Estrada is survived by his wife, Brittany, and their two children, Sienna and Luca. As Jesus, his brother, said, he showed me again and again what it means to love fiercely, live fully, and never do anything halfway. He lived his life fully, and he gave his life for his family and the community, and gave his life for God. He was a dad that was up for almost anything. Anything. His daughter, Sienna, spoke also at her father's funeral. Let me let you listen to her words. Give me a second. These darn commercials come up, and they gave us no heads up about this. The next voice you're going to hear is his daughter, Sienna.
Eric Estrada was a great father and husband to our mom and us. He loved his hair and took great pride in his grass and making sure it was green. He knew how to make others laugh and smile. One time we were on our way to Walmart to pick up groceries and we were getting in the car. I got in the front seat and he sat in the back and said, "There's actually a lot of room back here." And we all just started laughing. Ever since he passed, everybody's been really supportive, and I'm really grateful for all this family being here and helping us get through this. I know it's been really hard, especially for my mom. There's two people that have been really brave for me, my mom and brother. They'd kiss in the kitchen and gross me and look out, and we'd say ew, but that's their way of showing love. They love each other more than you could imagine. He was a dad that was up for almost anything. Whenever we wanted to play Minecraft, he would play with us. He would take us to the river on warm, perfect days so we could walk Poe and Maverick as a family. He would get the trampoline wet and jump on it with us and get wet with the hose. He always had humor and said anything that would come out funny. He loved his pickleball and CrossFit. He was a great friend to others. He put others before himself. He was a great human being. He will always be remembered for what he did for our country. He lived a great life. He did what he wanted to do for a living, protect people. We love you and miss you very much. Thank you for your time.
That was daughter Sienna. His police chief also spoke very highly of Officer Estrada. Officer Estrada worked for Tremont Police and one other police department prior to that. He was known by many names, including Chips. But Officer Estrada was best known as father. He was a great dad. When Officer Estrada was being interviewed for the position of police officer for Tremont Police, his chief asked him, "What is your greatest idea that you might give me to become a better father?" The police chief was just about to have one of his own children. Officer Estrada said, "Be a great dad. Take great interest in your family. Take even better interest in just your children. Make sure your children grow up to be just like you." That was Officer Estrada's instructions to the police chief who was just about to become a father. Officer Estrada loved his children, he loved his wife, he loved his entire family. He knew how to make others laugh and smile. One time, they talked about going to Walmart. They loved it. He and his daughter loved each other. He and his wife, Brittany, loved each other more than you can possibly imagine. As you heard his daughter Sienna say that he loved her dad and loved pickleball and CrossFit. He always knew how to make others laugh and smile and lived a great life. He always put everyone else before himself. He was a great human being. He was always being remembered for what he did for our country and for his community and for his family. Now, Eric Estrada was laid to rest earlier this afternoon in the Logan Cemetery. Tomorrow is a funeral for Sergeant Lee Sorensen at 10 a.m. Mountain Time in Logan, Utah, at the Utah State University. Those of you that want to see it, the best place to probably see it is either Channel 4 Utah or on KSL Salt Lake City. Okay? Both those channels, also Fox 13 in Salt Lake City. Sergeant Sorensen is his second cousin. I loved him immensely. Please, folks, please follow this channel for more updates on Sergeant Sorensen as well. And God bless Eric Estrada's family, and we hope to see you soon. God be with you until we meet again, Eric Estrada. God bless you. Now, folks, we have more to talk about. As we reported yesterday, there was a school shooting, a Catholic school in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That shooter was 25 years old, a 25-year-old transsexual. Okay? In 2020, he changed his name legally to Robin. His real name was Robert. He legally changed his name to Robin because he felt like he was a female, not a male. So he did that legally in 2020. He said in a statement that he wrote in a letter to his family before he did what he did, he said he was sorry to bring any shame on his family, but he had to do it. He said he's felt depressed for many years, and he felt like he couldn't do anything right. He felt like this country and the world was caving in on him. Now, I want to say this, okay? Many people are destroyed and destroyed within themselves. If you feel like that, get some help. Get some help. There's an 800 number you can call to get help. If you're depressed at all, call that 800 number to get help. There's no reason that you have to resort to doing what this man did. I'm not going to mention his name again. I did yesterday. I'm not going to mention it again today. I don't want to give him any notoriety at all. But he killed 17 people, and then he turned the gun on himself. Unfortunately. Very sad state of affairs. If you are depressed at all, or you feel like you need help, call that 800 number. Don't take your life. It's not worth it. Live your life fully. Okay? Now, in regards to this shooting, I hate to even say this. I hate like heck to say this, but this is not the first LGBTQ trans shooting. Okay? Yesterday, this man shut up a Catholic church, killed 2 people and wounded 15 others. Killed 2 people and wounded 15 others. Earlier this year, there was a Republican Party firebombing by a gender-fluid individual. Then last year, there was a Nashville shooter in a school, a transsexual shooter, again. Prior to that, earlier this past year, actually, I think this happened earlier this year, I should say, when Elon Musk was supporting President Trump. Another transsexual lit Tesla cars on fire in Colorado. Transsexual. He said he was non-binary. Non-binary. In Aberdeen, there was another shooter, also transsexual. Last year, a Denver school shooter was also transsexual. In Iowa, there was a school shooting, transgender fluid. The EMSC stabber, transsexual. And there's a lot more. Folks, these transsexual people need help. They need help. They're not mentally stable. They are not mentally stable. Okay? I said this before, I'm going to say it again. Years ago, they closed a bunch of mental health institutions all across this country. Those mental health people have either killed themselves or still presently living on the streets, and have actually, some of them have been jailed because they've committed crimes. I'm going to say this, and like I said, I'm going to say it again. These mentally disturbed people need to be back in mental institutions. We must reestablish mental health institutions, mental health clinics, so people can get the help that they need, not being on the street either. I've had several friends of mine that have stepped away from our friendship because I don't agree with them. President Trump said he was going to clean up our streets. He was going to take people off the streets and arrest them. That's not entirely true. President Trump said he would take those people who are mentally ill, living on the streets, and get them the help they need, and get them off the street. Those people that needed to get off the street that are healthy, he said he was going to help them and also make sure they could get jobs or training so they could give jobs and get off the street themselves. But President Trump said he was going to clean up the streets. Again, I lost several friendships because those people said President Trump was going to just arrest people. That's not entirely true. President Trump is cleaning up the streets. As I spoke to you yesterday, there have been over 1,100 people that have been arrested so far for crimes that have been living on the streets. 1,100 people have been arrested so far that are living on the streets in Washington, D.C. Unreal. The number of carjackings have dropped to one in the last 3 weeks. One in the last 3 weeks, and before that, there were 10 carjackings a week in Washington, D.C. They've cleaned up the subways in Washington, D.C. There have been no murders on the streets of Washington, D.C. at all since President Trump cleaned up the streets and went out there with the National Guard and the police department cleaning up the streets. No murders. 99% of those murders were against black people. Black against black. Now, I'm not a racist. I'm not a racist at all. But those black criminals that were murderers on the streets killing their own people, that's highly illogical, number one. Number two, it's tragic. Let's stop that. Let's continue to get people off the streets. Let's continue to clean up our communities. President Trump has has lately also challenged New York and Chicago to do the same thing. But Governor Pritzker, in his infinite wisdom, doesn't want to do that. He said he's not going to allow the National Guard to clean up Chicago or any other place in Illinois. Guess what? Pritzker doesn't have a choice. The National Guard works for the military, and the military has one commander-in-chief, and that is President Trump. If President Trump wants the National Guard on the streets, President Trump is going to get the National Guard on the streets to help the police clean up the cities, clean up the towns, clean up our country. Governor Pritzker and Mayor Johnson of Chicago may end up going to jail. If they defy President Trump, they'll end up going to jail. Okay? We're going to clean up this country one way or the other. Okay? I don't like martial law at all. But if we have to have troops on the streets for a short period of time to clean up our streets, we're going to do it. Plain and simple. The troops won't remain on the streets for very long, but we're going to get the police the help that they need. Now, during the Obama administration and the Biden administration, they defunded the police. Now, the federal government is giving police departments across this nation more money to hire more police officers, to get people off the streets, to stop crime in our country. They're going to get the money they need. As I've spoken before for many years now, during the crisis in 2020 and 2021 with COVID, Seattle and Portland went to help. They went to heck in a handbasket. Their police departments were defunded. Rioters took to the streets and actually took over parts of Seattle, took part of downtown Seattle under control, where police couldn't even get in there to answer to crimes. Unreal. That has stopped. It's going to continue to stop. Crime in Seattle, Portland, and Los Angeles, San Francisco, Santa Barbara, San Diego are going to stop. Going to stop. Again, I'm in support of our president to clean up our country. That's what he promised to do. That's what he was elected to do, and that's what he's doing. Promises made, promises kept. Promises made, promises kept. Now, let's pray for our country. Let's pray for those families in Minnesota that lost children. 2 of those 17 in Minnesota were killed were adults. Adults. Let's pray for all the victims and their families as they go through this tragedy in Minnesota. Let's pray for our country as well. It's bad. It's bad. We want to be the best country in the world. We must set an example, and I've talked about that in the past. That was basically my message last night to all of you before we hung up the microphone last night. To stand up and be counted. We're going to talk about that later as well. But we need to pray for our countries, not just the United States. This is an international program. We all need to pray for our individual countries around the world. Number 1, let's pray for peace. Let's pray for peace. Number 2, let's pray for each other. Let's pray for each other and hold each other up. We are a family here on Emergency Management Associates. We are a family. We stand for something. We stand for something. Let's never forget that. Anyway, I want to also talk about earthquakes here. I'm going to go up here and put up the USGS map for a little while. I want to talk about earthquakes around the world. I'm going to take down our webcam here. I'm going to take down our banner here. I'm going to take down the picture of our flags in my backyard. And I'm going to take down this badge that you see here, which is my badge when I was a police officer. No, I did not work for the city of San Diego, but I was a federal police officer in San Diego. This is the USGS map, okay? Again, we're still having earthquakes off the southeastern coast of Kamchatka Peninsula, Russia. These earthquakes are going to continue for a while. We had several major earthquakes, 7.4, 8.8, which was actually a 9.4 major earthquake. Anything over a 7.0 earthquake is a major earthquake. We've had several of them. Earthquakes here off the Kamchatka Peninsula are aftershocks. These aftershocks will continue. They're only showing 2 of 10 earthquakes, 2 of 10 aftershocks here. This is a 5.0 earthquake down here south of the Kamchatka Peninsula in the Kuril Islands. A large 5.0 earthquake. This is actually 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. This earthquake off the southeast corner of the Kamchatka Peninsula, this is a moderate 4.5 earthquake. Also 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. There's another earthquake over here near Atka, Alaska. This is a 6.0 earthquake. This is a 6.0 earthquake, shallow earthquake at that, 83 miles deep, Atka, Alaska. Now this did not have a tsunami. I know I'm going to get people that ask about this. I know I'm going to see people here on YouTube that say this caused a tsunami. This did not cause a tsunami. I'm going to repeat, this 5.3 large earthquake over here near Atka, Alaska, 150 miles west of Atka, Alaska, did not cause a tsunami. No tsunami forecast, no tsunami advisory, no tsunami warning, no tsunami issued at all. Not going to happen. But this was a 6.0 very large earthquake. This happened 7 minutes after 7 a.m. Eastern Time today. Another earthquake here in the Aleutian Islands here. This is east-southeast of Aveyah. This is a 4.0 earthquake here. Okay? As you see, there are other earthquakes here in the Aleutian Island chain here. This is a minus 0.2 microquake here. This is not above sea level though. Minus numbers are above sea level. This is not above sea level. This happens to be 4 miles deep. 4 miles deep here. Look where it's at. Right next to a volcano. Right next to a volcano here. A 4.0 earthquake here. Now, we have other volcanoes here, as you can see, and they are rocking. Regardless of what USGS says here or shows here, they are rocking. One other island here, right here, Falls Pass, Alaska, at another volcano here. They say this is a 0.0 surface quake. This is 1/10 of a mile deep. 1/10 of a mile deep. This one to the south is a 0.4 microquake, 4 miles deep. This earthquake here is 0.3 microquake, 3/10 of a mile deep. This earthquake here, another 0.3, 6/10 of a mile deep here. This earthquake here, another 0.3 microquake. Guess what? This one was almost 2 miles deep, 1.8 miles deep here. This other one on the southern side of this volcano, this is also a 0.3 microquake. This is 3.5 miles deep. Okay? There are other earthquakes here in Alaska as well. We go up the peninsula here. There's a reason I'm taking you here. Look at the earthquakes here. This earthquake is a minus 0.3, but it's not. It's not above sea level at all. This is 8 miles deep. 0.3 microquake, 8 miles deep. This is minus 0.5. It's not above sea level. This one is 9 miles deep. 0.5 microquake, 9 miles deep. This is they say this is a minus 0.8. Again, it's not above sea level. This is 9.7 miles deep. This fourth earthquake right here, they say is minus 0.6. It's also not above sea level. This is 9 miles deep. Unreal. Again, USGS would have us believe that these were above sea level, but they're not. Way deep earthquakes. Another one over here. Okay, this is 32 miles southwest of Karluk, Alaska. Interesting. 2.0 earthquake. 2.0 earthquake. Fascinating. Look at this. This is another 1.6 tremor here at a volcano. Fancy that. At a volcano. This 1.6 tremor is also 10.5 miles deep. Interesting, huh? We're not done yet. Let's go further to the north here. Look at this. 1.8 tremor here, west of Happy Valley, Alaska. Guess what? 67 miles deep. This is south of Mount Redoubt. South of Mount Redoubt, guys. Going north here into the Cook Strait here. This is the Cook, actually, this is the Cook Inlet. Cook Strait is down New Zealand. This is the Cook Inlet. This is a 2.1 earthquake here. Going over here to the west, this they say is a minus 0.3 microquake. It's not above sea level again. This is 2.2 miles deep. Let's go up here towards Mount Redoubt. Look at this. This is a 2.0 earthquake, 69 miles deep. 69 miles deep near Mount Redoubt. Let's go over towards Anchorage, Alaska. Over west of Anchorage, Alaska here, another 2.0 earthquake near Point McKenzie. Interesting. Northwest of Anchorage here, Meadow Lakes, Alaska. 1.4 tremor, 20 miles deep. 20 miles deep. This other earthquake right next to it, 2.2 minor earthquake. Also 20 miles deep. Out to the west of that, another 1.2 tremor here. This is 2 miles south of Houston, Alaska. 12.3 miles deep. Interesting. Interesting. To the north of that, Willow, Alaska, where the former governor lives. 1.5 tremor here. We go out further here to the northwest. Scranton, Alaska. 1.5 tremor. 1.6 tremor. South of Scranton over here, another 1.4 tremor. Further out here to the west, a 1.3 tremor. Now here to the north, 13 miles southwest of Trapper Creek, Alaska, a 1.1 tremor. Why am I bothering with this? I want to show you what's going on. I want you to know what's going on. Number one, we show you those earthquakes near Mount Redoubt. We showed you those earthquakes near other volcanoes, huh? Because the other volcanoes are rocking. The other volcanoes are rocking. We go up further north here, north of Denali National Park. This is 19 miles northwest of Denali. USGS has this east-southeast of Denali. Where's Denali, guys? Denali National Park is right here. Mount McKinley is right here. This is Denali National Park. USGS is saying this 2.3 earthquake is east-southeast of Denali. No, it's not. It's west-northwest of Denali, a 2.3 minor earthquake. USGS still can't get its directions right. Sad but true. One other earthquake hit here just a few minutes ago. Right here. It'll let me bring it up here. Near Fairbanks, Alaska. This is a 1.6 tremor here near Fairbanks, Alaska. 1.6 tremor, 6 miles deep. 6 miles deep. There is nothing north of the Arctic Circle here. Nothing north of the Arctic Circle and nothing north by the North Shore here of Alaska where the oil and gas drilling is going on. Nothing going on here so far. I want to go over to the South Pacific and show you some more activity here. This one is southeast of Vanuatu. Southeast of Vanuatu. This is a large 5.2 earthquake. 86 miles south-southeast of Vanuatu. East angle of Vanuatu. Out in the Pacific Ocean. The ocean waters absorbed the shockwaves of this quake. Nobody was affected. Nobody felt this quake. Nothing happened. The ocean absorbed the shockwaves of this quake. They're not showing any other earthquakes, but there are. Sad but true, there are. USGS doesn't want to show them. Let's go over here to the west to Papua New Guinea. This is another 5.1 earthquake southeast of Kokopo, Papua New Guinea. We've had plenty of earthquakes up here near Kokopo, Papua New Guinea right here. This again was out in the ocean here. Southeast of Kokopo. 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. This earthquake, seismic energy was absorbed by the ocean water and was not affecting anybody here today, fortunately. Fortunately. We go further to the west over here, also in Papua New Guinea. This is another 4.0 moderate quake. This northeast of Ambuti, Papua New Guinea. 4.0 moderate quake, no damage is reported. But I'm going to tell you this, there may be damage nonetheless. 4.0 earthquakes can cause moderate damage. I've proven that in past episodes of this program. Here in this area, these people are very poor, maybe making $500 a year. Very poor people. When an earthquake of any kind this strong and larger, they lose everything. Most of them live in cardboard or wooden huts. Cardboard or wooden huts. When an earthquake or a typhoon, cyclone, like a hurricane comes through here, it devastates all of them. Devastates all of them. They lose everything they had, and some people die. Sad day. This is a moderate 4.0 earthquake here. Okay, it was a fairly shallow quake, 51 kilometers deep. Let's go over here in Indonesia. 36 earthquakes here in Indonesia, and USGS shows us one over here in southern Sumatra. Again, this is a 5.0 earthquake. There are 3.2s, 4.2s, 4.5s, 3.7, and 4.7 earthquakes all over Indonesia. But again, USGS will never tell you. This area includes 7 different tectonic plates. This area from Tonga and Samoa down here to southern New Zealand, all the way up here through Australia, all these islands, Vanuatu, the Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea, Indonesia here. Guess what? 7 different tectonic plates. The world's largest tectonic plate factory, basically. One tectonic plate subducting under the other here. That's why they have this many earthquakes. But again, USBS doesn't want to talk about it. Sad. Very sad day here. Let's go over here. This is south of Japan here, north of Taiwan. These islands down here between Taiwan and Japan belong to Japan. This is a 4.8 moderate earthquake, 7 miles west-southwest of Lee, L-E, Japan. Lee, Japan, out in the ocean. A 4.8 earthquake over here in the Sea of Japan here. Actually, I think it's at the borderline of Sea of Japan and the South China Sea. Now, I'm going to go over here, up here into Mongolia here. This was a large earthquake, a 5.3 large earthquake here. This is 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. We don't have any reports of damages or injuries here because Russia won't put that out. 5.3 earthquake up here in Russia, Mongolia. They're not showing any other earthquakes at all here in Europe. We know that there are. We talked about this before. There are probably 1,000 earthquakes here in Europe. 1,000 earthquakes here in Europe. They don't want to talk about it. Sad. Sad. South America. The only earthquake they're showing up here is in the Andes Mountains here. Okay? This is north-northwest of Abra Pampa, Argentina. It's over in the Andes Mountains here, in the foothills of the Andes Mountains. This also is just east of the border of Chile and Argentina. Okay, a 4.8 earthquake. There are 14 other earthquakes here in northern Chile that USBS is not talking about. 12 other earthquakes over here in central Chile. Why are they not talking about these? There's an earthquake over here in Peru. There's 3 earthquakes here in Colombia. Why are they not talking about it? Let's go over here to Central America. 13 earthquakes here in Central America. They're showing us 1. A 4.5 earthquake south of Panama. South of Boca Chica, Panama. 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. They're not showing any other earthquakes here. Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, San Salvador, Guatemala. Not showing any earthquakes, but 1. 1 earthquake over here in the Cocos Plate. This is a 4.6 earthquake. This is 22 kilometers deep. Over here is south of Mexico. We have a 4.1 earthquake here. It's not just this earthquake here. There are 42 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. From this earthquake up here to the north of Puerto Vallarta. 41 earthquakes here. Why is USGS not showing them to us? Sad. Sad. They're not reporting all the earthquakes here in the United States either. We've proven that fact before. As you can see, Southern California is on fire. Southern California is on fire with earthquakes. Yeah, earthquakes. We just got through having an earthquake over here near Boatfish, California. Boatfish, California is a volcanic area. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. Magma motivated here. A volcanic quake. Up here to the northeast, Olancha, California. Olancha, California is approximately 62 miles north of Ridgecrest. 62 miles north of Ridgecrest, we have a 1.5 tremor here. Southeast of there, this is a 1.0 tremor in the Koza volcanic field. The Koza volcanic field. This isn't a volcanic field, guys. Magma motivated. 1.0 tremor. This is also 1.6 miles deep. Fascinating, huh? It really is. Let's go north. You can see earthquakes south of Monterey Bay here on the San Andreas Fault. They're in the pinnacles. They're in the pinnacles right here. This is a 1.1 earthquake near San Lucas, California. This is a 1.0 in the pinnacles. Oil and gas drilling here. Oil and gas drilling here. They're not showing any earthquakes here near Monterey, none near San Francisco Bay at all. Guess what? They're wrong. There are earthquakes here, but they're not reporting them. Sad. Very sad. We go up near Santa Rosa, California. This is a 2.2 earthquake here. North of there, we go to the geysers. The geysers is a geothermal facility here. The geothermal facility has had men drill into the upper magma chambers of volcano right here. The Clear Lake volcano. The Clear Lake volcano here, guys. That's the reason for these earthquakes here. This is a 1.2 tremor here. This is a 0.5 microquake here. As you can see, there are other microquakes here, but what they're not showing you, geysers today had a 3.5 earthquake. The geysers facility here had a 3.5 earthquake. The USBS is not showing you. Interesting. Why are they not showing the earthquake? These earthquakes are a result of drilling in the upper magma chambers of this volcano. Seismic energy coming off the Pacific Ocean. Seismic energy coming off the Pacific Ocean here comes over here and hits these drill points. It hits these drill points. When the energy hits these drill points, it fractures the rock inside the drill points, which causes earth movement, i.e. earthquakes. That's why we have earthquakes here. Okay, let's go north here. We have no earthquakes here in the southern part of the Cascadia subduction zone region. Nothing here near Petrolia. Nothing here near the triple junction of the Cascadia subduction zone, the Gorda Escarpment, and the San Andreas Fault. Yes, right here we have the conjunction of three earthquake faults: the Cascadia, the Gorda Escarpment, and the San Andreas Fault. They're not showing any earthquakes. There may be earthquakes here. They're just not showing them. Let's go over here in Oregon. Guess what? Right here. Earlier today, USGS had this earthquake offshore of Langlois, Oregon. Now they moved it ashore. They said it's now 6 miles south-southwest of Langlois, Oregon. Fascinating. 4 hours ago, it was offshore. Now it's onshore. 2.0 minor earthquake. 2.0 minor earthquake. But why are they not showing any other earthquakes here in Oregon? There have been earthquakes here in Oregon up and down the entire coastline, Washington and Oregon. Earthquakes. Earthquakes. They're showing one alleged quarry blast here, an explosion, allegedly 4 miles south-southwest of Cottage Grove, Oregon. Fascinating. Let's take a look at this. Look where this earthquake is. It's in a forested area naturally. Naturally. 4 miles south-southwest of Cottage Grove, Oregon. A 1.4 tremor, not an explosion. Not an explosion. There is no quarry blast here, and unless they're using dynamite to harvest trees out here. This was not an explosion. This was a quarter mile deep. A quarter mile deep. Not an explosion. Not an explosion at all. Okay? I want to keep moving here because I have a lot of things I want to talk about here. A lot of things that you need to be interested in. That you should be interested in. Earthquakes around Eugene, Oregon as well. They're not showing us, are they? Not a word. Not a word. We go up here to Adair Village, Oregon. Or Adair Village, Oregon here. Again, we have an alleged explosion here. 4 miles west-northwest of Adair Village, Oregon. Interesting. Dunn Forest, guys. A 1.5 tremor, guys. 1.4 tremor. This is 1/8 of a mile deep. Not an explosion. Not an explosion. Now, guess what it might be? Can you even fathom what it might be, guys? What do you think it might be? Can anybody tell me here in the chat what this might be? Demon Catman, do you have any idea what this might be? Demon Catman, do you have any idea what this might be? Spontaneous combustus carnivorous. An exploding tree. Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. Demon Catman, by the way, the reason I mentioned his name, he also sent me this meme to emphasize what is really happening out here. It's not an explosion at all. These are earthquake tremors, minor tremors here. Minor tremors here. They are not explosions at all. Not at all. USGS can lie, they can cheat, they can steal. They should never be allowed to lie about something like this. Folks, what do we have here? We have volcanoes all over Washington and Oregon. We have magma flowing off the Pacific Ocean over towards the volcanoes. Volcanoes all over Oregon in this case. Literally all over Oregon. We have Bachelor Volcano. We have Newberry Volcano. We have Sisters Volcano. Down to the south over here, we have Crater Lake Volcano down here. Interesting. Interesting. These are not explosions. These are not explosions. These are tremors caused by magma. Magma beneath the surface crawling its way over towards the volcanoes, fracturing rock in the volcanic chambers that the magma is flowing through. As the magma flows through the chamber, it fractures rock, causing earth movement. That's why we're getting these tremors here. That is exactly why we are seeing tremors here. As you can see, we are being shown that Mount Hood had a microquake here, a 0.4 microquake, 1.2 miles deep here at Mount Hood. USBS says this is 5 miles northeast of Government Camp, Mount Hood. Government Camp is a simple name. Simple name. The seismograph is located at a place called, guess what? Timberline. The Timberline seismograph is at Government Camp, at the base of Mount Hood. That is where the seismograph is at. For them to say this is 5 miles northeast of Government Camp is a fallacy, mislocation. They do not want us to know what's going on. I'm going to show you in just a few minutes a lot more activity than a 0.5 microquake at Mount Hood. Just a few minutes, you're going to see a lot of activity at Mount Hood. USGS doesn't want to talk about it at all. Up here at Mount St. Helens, they're showing some activity here, but guess what? Nothing like what has really happened here. Over here in the caldera of Mount St. Helens, the 0.1 microquake, 4.6 miles deep. Over here on the eastern rim of the crater, the 0.5 microquake, also 5 miles deep. Out here at the upper side of Mount St. Helens on the east side is what they say minus 0.2 microquake. It's 5 miles deep, USBS. 5 miles deep, it's not above sea level at all. 0.2 microquake, not above sea level. We go further out here to the northeast on the flank, on the eastern flank of Mount St. Helens. They say this is 0.0 surface quake. Really? This is not a surface quake at all. This is 4.5 miles deep. 4.5 miles deep. This quake here, they say, is a minus 0.2. It's not above sea level at all. It is 4.7 miles deep. This is a 0.2 microquake, way deep inside the volcano. These, again, are not the only earthquakes here at Mount St. Helens. Not at all. North of Mount St. Helens here, north of Mount St. Helens here is a 0.2 microquake. This is 16 miles south of Morganton, Washington. Really? 3 miles deep. 3 miles deep. Let's talk about Mount Rainier for a minute here. They're showing us some microquakes here. Guess what? Again, we have a lot of evidence to show you these are not the only seismic. This is not the only seismic activity here at Mount Rainier. A lot more than this. Okay, right here. This is in the crater of Mount Rainier. The 0.1 tremor, 1.2 miles deep. Also in the crater here, 0.6 microquake, 0.6 of a mile deep, right beneath the volcanic plug. Right beneath the volcanic plug, 0.6 of a mile deep. Over here on the northern side of Mount Rainier, northern flank of Mount Rainier, this is a 0.4 microquake. Interesting. This is a quarter of a mile deep. Again, they're not showing hardly anything here. Northwest of Mount Rainier, over here near Buckley, Washington, the 0.7 microquake, 6 miles deep. Let's go over here just east of Seattle here. Snoqualmie, Washington. 1.4 tremor, 7.4 miles deep. Fascinating, but no cigar. Let's go up here into the Puget Sound area. Orcas, Washington. They say this is a 1.1 tremor here near Orcas, Washington. Fabulous, but no cigar. I'm going to show you a seismogram from Orcas, Washington tonight that's going to show you more than just a 1.1 tremor here. Again, they don't want us to know exactly what's going on here. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid we need to know what's going on here. Because guess what? We're going to get a huge earthquake here. I think it's probably 5 years away. We're going to receive a huge earthquake here, a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that's going to be called the Cascadia megathrust earthquake. 9.0, 10.0 in magnitude. A devastating quake. A very devastating quake. Either over here on the Cascadia subduction zone or further west over here between the Juan de Fuca fault and the Cascadia subduction zone. But nonetheless, it's still going to affect Washington, Oregon, and even southwestern Canada, all the way to Alaska, all the way to Alaska, and as far south as northern Mexico. As far south as northern Mexico. The Cascadia megathrust earthquake is going to be at least a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake. Not just fell along the coast, but all the way across the continent. All the way across the North American continent, Canada and the United States, all the way to the East Coast. Fact. You can take this one to the bank. By the time the energy hits the East Coast, we're probably going to feel at least a 5.0 to 5.5 shaking over here on the East Coast. The seismic energy is going to decrease as it goes across the continent, but we're still going to see large earthquakes all the way across the United States and Canada. Fact. Fact. The seismic energy is going to be felt all the way here into Alaska. And something that hardly anybody else is going to tell you about is that this Cascadia earthquake is going to cause a major tsunami. A major tsunami. We saw what happened when the tsunami hit over off the coast of southeastern Kamchatka Peninsula. We saw what happened over in Japan when they had a 9.0 earthquake near Fukushima, Japan, back in 2011. It's a fact what happens. We've seen it before. We get a tsunami. The tsunami that this is going to cause is going to be at least 100. Actually, I'm going to take this down. It's going to be between 50 to 150 foot high. We're talking about the waves. The waves, multiple waves, 50 to 150 foot high. 9.0, 10.0 earthquake is one of the most deadly earthquakes anybody will ever see. That earthquake was felt over in the Turkey-Syria border region just 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, with devastating circumstances. The same thing's going to happen here. Major earthquake causing major damage. Then within 15 minutes of that earthquake shaking ending, that's when the tsunami waves will start. I'm talking plural waves, multiple waves, 50 to 150 foot high. When the earthquake hits, the tsunami starts offshore. The waves, the water is going to leave the Washington, Oregon shoreline, going to go out to sea. When that happens, the shoreline is going to be bare, right? Water is going to be descending into that area out in the Pacific Ocean where the ocean floor dropped. When the ocean water from the shoreline reaches this area where the ground dropped in the Pacific Ocean, the bottom of the ocean dropped. When that water reaches dropping point, it's going to reel back towards landfall. That's going to cause a major tsunami. As I said, anywhere from 50 to 150 foot waves, multiple waves, crashing into the shoreline. Last time this happened, there was a mariner out to sea that saw either Glacier Peak or Mount Rainier erupting at the time of the Cascadia earthquake. Fascinating, huh? Back in 1700. That tsunami reached all the way across to Japan. That tsunami reached all the way across to Japan over here, causing devastating circumstances. Excuse me, I'm going over this other map to show you because it's not going to allow me to show you Japan here. The tsunami wave is going across the entire Pacific Basin. We're going to see another tsunami reach Japan and reach Hawaii and reach Alaska and all of the other islands of the Pacific. Major tsunami. Again, we saw a small tsunami reach over to Hawaii after the major earthquake hit over off Kamchatka Peninsula. That's just going to be preparatory school for the Cascadia tsunami. Fact. Fact. Now, guys, I've shown you the earthquakes here in the Pacific Northwest. Let's close down the USGS map here. Let's close down the map. I just brought up our webcam here, and I'm going to bring up the seismos, the earthquakes that happened along the coastline of Washington, Oregon yesterday. Right now, they don't have anything for today, but I'm going to tell you this, and you need to know it. Guess what? They're showing us only 26 earthquakes. 26 earthquakes that hit over here in the southern mountains, in the coastal areas of Oregon. 26 earthquakes hit in the coastal areas of Oregon. Unreal. Unreal. Why are they only showing us 26 earthquakes here? Why are they only showing us 26 earthquakes here? Southeast of Medford? Interesting. How about down here in California? Out here near Mount Lassen? Unreal. 26 earthquakes here. South of Medford and over here, south of Shasta at Mount Lassen. 26 epicenters. 1.0 to 1.9 tremors here. 1.0 to 1.9 tremors here. But the fact of the matter is this. The Pacific Northwest Seismic Network is lying to us. They're outright lying to us. I'm going to tell you this. There are probably 200 earthquakes. Over 200 earthquakes along the shoreline of Washington and Oregon. Over 200 epicenters here. Why the heck then are they only showing us 26 epicenters if there are more than that? Because again, the politicians in Washington and Oregon are telling the USBS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network not to tell us exactly what's going on. You have to go digging for the information. And sometimes we can't find the seismograms to show us the information because they've deleted the information. But I have enough seismograms to show you what's really going on here. I have enough seismograms here to show you what's really going on here. For example, Bend, Oregon. Bend, Oregon, look at this. We've talked about harmonic tremors before when we talked about volcanoes. That's what we're seeing here. Why are we seeing harmonic tremors over near Bend, Oregon? Because magma is flowing off the Pacific plate. Magma is flowing off the Pacific plate headed for the volcanoes here in Oregon. Harmonic tremors here. The ground is moving. Magma is moving, causing harmonic tremors here. Fact. Fact. That is what really is going on here. Let's keep going. Let's go over to Rainier, Oregon. Yes, Rainier has an Oregon, or Oregon has a Rainier, right here. Yes, it is a town here in Oregon. Look at all the harmonic tremors and other minor tremors here. Look at that. But we also have an earthquake. Fancy that. A 2.2 earthquake hit today. Today. Look at this. Let me enlarge this so you can see it. Okay. This earthquake happened after 9 a.m. this morning. About 9:16 this morning. And actually, it's more than a 2.2. I believe this is probably a 2.5 earthquake here. A 2.5 earthquake here. Rainier, Oregon. Unreal, huh? We've only just begun. We've only just begun. Let me show you more tremors here. Let's show you earthquakes as well. Let's go over here to let's go over to Warrenton, Oregon. The Clatsop County Sheriff's Office in Warrenton, Oregon. That is where this seismograph is located. Look at this. Warrenton, Oregon, guys. These are tremors here. These are tremors. Why then is Pacific Northwest Seismic Network only showing us 26 tremors? Most of them are all south of Medford, Oregon, and down over near Mount Lassen. We have plenty of tremors here in Oregon. Plenty of tremors here in Oregon. I'm only showing you these. Let's go to Washington. Let's go over to northwestern Washington at Grays Harbor. Look at this. The PNSN didn't show us all these tremors here. Yes, some of these are harmonic tremors as well, but we're having 2.5, 2.6 earthquakes here today. The last 24 hours. This one here on the right-hand side on the red line is after 9:15 on the left. So over here, we're now at 9:18. Actually, 9:28 a.m. this morning. Last night, 9:18 last night. Or, excuse me, 9:28 last night. 2.5 earthquake. Look at all these other tremors here. Literally everywhere. Why are they not showing us all these tremors here? Northwestern Washington. Heaven forbid. How about up there near Loomy Island here? Let's take a look at Loomy Island. We not just have tremors, but we have minor earthquakes here as well. 6 minor earthquakes. From 2.0 earthquakes all the way up to 2.7, 2.8 earthquakes here today. We have 2.0 earthquakes last night up at the top and down here today. I'm going to show you these. Look at this. Just after 7:30 this morning, approximately 7:32 this morning, a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. Later, just after 12:15 this afternoon, guess what? A 2.5 minor earthquake. But they're not showing this on the tremor map. Why not? Why not? Why are they not being truthful what's going on here? They've never been. They've never been truthful about exactly what's going on. But this isn't the only thing going on. Let's look at Pacific County, Washington, along the coastline. Look at these tremors and earthquakes. Tremors and 2.0 earthquakes here in Pacific County, Washington. Not showing these, are they? Heaven forbid. How about Ocean City, Washington? Along the coastline. Along the coastline here, look at that. Ocean City, Washington. Guess what? I think we have some earthquakes. Bingo. Look at all these tremors and earthquakes here. Last night on this blue line here on the right-hand side. Approximately 5:29 last night. 2.3, 2.4 earthquake. What else happened? Over here on the left-hand side on this red line here. This would be 11:15 last night. Actually 11:16. 2.9 earthquake. 2.9 earthquake at 11:16 last night. Ocean City, Washington. Look at all these tremors. Probably close to 50 tremors and other earthquakes. They're not showing this on the tremor map, are they? Heaven forbid. How about Ocean Shores, Washington, just further north than that? Look at the tremors here. Look at the magma here. See these horizontal lines? These are magma pulse signals. The thicker lines show more magma going through the ocean, going through the magma channels headed for the volcanoes. Magma headed for the volcanoes here. A lot of magma here, right? The thicker lines show more magma, the thinner lines less magma here. And then we have the tremors here. Interesting. Look at this line at the bottom here. Look at this thicker line at the bottom. That is a lot of activity. Yes, I pulled this sidegram. About 12:40 this afternoon, Pacific time. Otherwise, we would see this red line going all the way across the sidegram. Ocean Shores, Washington. Tremors and earthquakes. Tremors and earthquakes, guys. I prove this time and time again every week. They can't tell us the truth. They don't know the truth. How about Orcas Island? Look at this. They had a tremor on the USGS map. Just a minor tremor. Look at the earthquakes and the tremors here at Orcas, Washington. Fabulous. Fabulous they show us anything on the USGS map. But we have 2.0, we have 2.5, we have 2.7, we have even 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes here at Orcas, Washington today. Look at that. Don't you think USGS ought to show us exactly what's going on and instead of only showing us a tremor? There are actual earthquakes happening at Orcas, Washington. Incredible. Incredible. Orcas Island Airport. Orcas Island Airport, East Sound, Washington. Look at this. More tremors and earthquakes here. You tell me what's wrong with the USGS map. They're not being truthful. The Pacific Northwest Network is not being truthful at all. All you have to do is go to the seismograms, just look and see what's actually going on. They're not showing us adequate information. Why not? Because they don't want anybody to realize that we have a major earthquake coming to the Pacific Northwest. They don't want anybody to know that we have a major Cascadia earthquake that's happening. And what I've just showed you here is preparatory for that earthquake. This seismic energy that I just got through showing you, the tremors and the full-blown earthquakes, is preparatory for the Cascadia earthquake to happen. So they might say, well, nothing's going to happen until we have these earthquakes. But again, they're not showing us what's happening. So they are lying through their teeth. They are lying through their teeth. Let's look here at volcanoes. Now, I got a little ahead of myself. This is Bachelor Volcano. Bachelor Volcano in Oregon. Look what's happening here. Again, Bachelor Volcano is showing harmonic tremors and other tremors here as well. Harmonic tremors. Magma flowing through the magma channel into the volcano here. Magma causing vibrations inside the volcano, i.e. harmonic tremors. Yes, we're also seeing minor earthquakes and tremors here as well. Look at all that activity. This activity is caused by magma. These earthquakes and tremors are caused by magma in the volcanic chamber at Bachelor Volcano. Fascinating. Fascinating. But that's not all, there's more. Okay, let's go north. Let's go north to Mount Baker. Now, at Mount Baker, we have another volcano full of tremors. Harmonic tremors, guys. This seismogram shows nothing but tremors. Harmonic tremors, top to bottom, side to side. Okay, active. This proves that magma is inside the volcano, flowing. Flowing. But that's not all, folks. There's more. Let's go over to the north side of Mount Baker to Schuchsen. Schuchsen is a ski resort on the north side of Mount Baker. This seismogram also showing us nothing but harmonic tremors. Interesting. Harmonic tremors all over Mount Baker. Harmonic tremors all over Mount Baker. North to south, east to west, on all sides of Mount Baker. What's actually going to happen? What do you think is happening at Mount Baker? Look at the magma. This particular seismogram is showing you what they call VLF waves. These wavy lines here are called VLF waves. These VLF waves are caused by magma flowing through the magma channel. Magma flowing through the magma channel here at Mount Baker. Look at this. This is why we have harmonic waves, harmonic tremors inside the volcano. Mount Baker is very active. Mount Baker is very active. They're not showing you all the earthquakes. It's just not tremors here at Mount Baker. They're not showing you all the earthquakes. Look down at the bottom right-hand corner here. Look down at the bottom right-hand corner. And all the way across the bottom here. On the black and the blue line here. On the black line, folks, we have a 1.7 tremor here. 1.7 tremor. On the blue line below that, towards the left, 1.3, 1.4 tremors there. But folks, when we have this kind of activity with magma, the magma fractures the rock in the volcanic chamber of the volcano, causing earthquakes. They're still not showing us earthquakes at Mount Baker. They're not showing us earthquakes at Mount Baker, and there are. There are plenty of them. With this amount of magma flowing through the magma chamber of this volcano, there are plenty of earthquakes here. They're just not showing it to us. Let's drop down to Glacier Peak. Glacier Peak is about 40 miles southwest of Mount Baker. What's going on at Glacier Peak? Presently, Glacier Peak has one seismograph, one machine on the volcano. Glacier Peak is a very active volcano. What are they showing us here? Almost nothing. They have turned down the seismograph here at Glacier Peak. They've turned down the seismograph at Glacier Peak. Most of their stuff they're showing here are just tremors. However, there is one 3.3 earthquake here today. One 3.3 earthquake here after I'm just trying to line this up so you can see it. Just after 9:22, 9:23 a.m. this morning. A 3.3 earthquake hit Glacier Peak. Yes, we are seeing tremors all over this mountain. I believe there's more than that. I believe we have more tremors and more earthquakes than that. They are not showing us exactly what's going on. They are either deleting or erasing these earthquakes. Glacier Peak is a very active volcano. It should be showing activity just as much at Mount Rainier as any other. Glacier Peak is an active volcano. During the past 3 years, there have been reports from the agencies, the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network and also USGS, saying that we're going to put 5 more seismographs on the mountain. They still haven't done it. The environmentalists have been protesting, saying, oh, you can't do that because our marmot population on Glacier Peak will be disturbed. If you send scientists up there, the marmots might get frightened and might leave Glacier Peak. I don't think that's going to happen. But you know these liberal protesters, they're going to talk off the top of their head, whether they make sense or not. They cannot prove there are marmots that would be harmed here on Glacier Peak. They cannot prove that putting seismographs on this mountain are going to harm the marmot population on the volcano. Yet the volcano could erupt and cause great damage. And I believe the scientists and the citizens here below this mountain have the right and opportunity to see exactly what's going on. But right now, the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network is not going to show us. And USGS is telling them not to show anything. And the politicians are telling both USBS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network, don't talk. Shut up. Because the politicians want to remain in power. That is a crying shame about the whole thing. The politicians are telling the agency, don't talk about earthquakes. Don't talk about an eruption. Because people will move. If people move, then the politicians won't be in power. The politicians will lose their jobs. Fact. Let's drop down south to Mount Rainier. Again, 40 miles southeast of Glacier Peak. Let's see what's going on at Mount Rainier. Let's go over to Camp Sherman. This diagram is Camp Sherman. This is over on the south flank of Mount Rainier. Camp Sherman is almost just as busy as it always has been. Mount Rainier is preparing to erupt. Mount Rainier is preparing to erupt. Several weeks ago, I gave you a report coming from the scientists that are monitoring Glacier Peak and Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier, guys, has ash. Mount Rainier has ash at the top of the volcano, at the summit of the volcano, which means there's already been a partial eruption with no lava. Ash has erupted. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean for you and I? Let me bring up our webcam and let me show you what's going on here. Let me take down this sidegram for just a minute. What's going on at Mount Rainier and all the other volcanoes for that matter? There is a magma plug at the top of a volcano, a great big huge lava plug that solidified after the last eruption at Mount Rainier. We have magma. We know for a fact there's magma inside the mountain, don't we? What's happening? Magma is coming up from underneath, hammering away at that plug, isn't it? Magma is hammering away at the plug. And every time magma hits that plug, it vibrates, doesn't it? That plug vibrates. That vibration is causing fissures to open up in the plug. Holes open up in the plug. Holes that go all the way down towards where the magma is. 67% of all magma is water. 67% of all magma is water. Water. When water heats up to 100 to 1500, 2000 degrees, what happens? It evaporates, doesn't it? That water evaporates and turns into steam. What has happened here? At Mount Rainier, these fissures have gotten wider. The fissures have gotten wider. What's going on? Let me show you. As that steam comes up through the fissures, just like this, that hot steam is enlarging those holes. That steam is enlarging those holes, and as more and more steam comes up through those fissures, those holes get even wider. What's happening here at Mount Rainier? Those holes have gotten wider, haven't they? They have satellites and instruments on Mount Rainier that are monitoring SO2, sulfur dioxide gas readings, and carbon dioxide readings as well. Carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide readings are elevated. Not just that, but see those holes, those fissures in the rock? Those fissures in the rock, guys, they've enlarged, haven't they? Those fissures have allowed steam and ash to escape the volcano. Steam and ash has been allowed to escape the volcano. The holes in that lava plug have enlarged. As that magma continues to hammer away at that plug, magma continues to hammer away at that plug, there are going to be more and more fissures in that rock, aren't there? More and more cracks. When that happens, that plug is going to go bluey. There's going to be an eruption at Mount Rainier. We've already seen ash. Scientists have been up there with drones and overflights of Mount Rainier, and they've seen ash at the top of Mount Rainier. It's a fact. Mount Rainier and all of these volcanoes we're talking about are preparing to erupt, especially Rainier and Mount St. Helens. That's what's happening. This is exactly what's going on, guys. Do we have any questions so far? And Pickering says, but people are in danger. You're absolutely right, they are. People are in danger. But again, USGS is going to say, oh, Ron, that's not going to happen. You're lying to the people. I'm not. I'm showing you the facts. I'm showing you the scientific facts. Seismograms don't lie. Seismograms don't lie. Yes, many times the scientists will scrub the seismograms off and not let the information go out. And in fact, I believe some of these seismograms have been scrubbed, but not the entire seismogram. They have to allow this information to get out. Okay? It's happening. It's happening. Guys, this is Camp Sherman. Let me show you Camp Muir on the north side of Mount Rainier. This is Camp Muir. Again, at Camp Muir, we're seeing tremors and earthquakes here as well. Look at the earthquakes at the bottom of the side graph. 2.6, 2.7 earthquakes happening at Camp Muir. Unreal. Tremors all over the volcano. There are probably 200 or 300 tremors at Mount Rainier today, as well as other earthquakes. I can show you time and time again here what's going on at Mount Rainier. I could show you seismographs all night long at Mount Rainier showing you what's happening. Fact. Fact. You're seeing it here. You are seeing it here, guys. You cannot help not to see it. That's going on. Let me show you two more seismographs here at Mount Rainier, then we'll take a look at Mount St. Helens. Look at this. This is the carbon repeater on the north side of Mount Rainier. Look at this. Tremors and 2.0, 2.2 earthquakes here. Unreal. And yet USGS is trying to tell us we only have microquakes. They are lying through their teeth. They are actually blind through their teeth. Let me show you another one here. Okay. This is Rainier Rushing Water Creek. This particular diagram is showing us the VLF waves here, the very low frequency waves caused by magma entering Mount Rainier. The curvier the lines, the more magma that's coming into the mountain. The curvier the VLF waves, the more magma that's rushing into Mount Rainier. They're still not showing us all the earthquakes. When you have a lot of activity, you're going to have a lot more earthquakes, but they're only showing us a handful of earthquakes. They're only showing us a handful of earthquakes. They cannot be honest with us and truly let us know what's going on. Otherwise, there will be an uproar in Seattle and the Tacoma area and other towns around Seattle, Washington. It's a fact. Even upwards of Gray Harbor, Washington to the northwest, upwards of all the way up into Vancouver Island, would be affected when Mount Rainier would erupt. And all the way out to South Dakota, Minnesota, and Michigan, ash would be found all the way out east. Fact. Let's look at Mount St. Helens now. St. Helens is also active. Very, very active. Let's look at September lobe. Good old September lobe. The main seismogram here at September lobe, Mount St. Helens, they've erased. It doesn't show any activity. So I had to come over to this seismogram here at September lobe to show any kind of activity. We have tremors here and we have some minor earthquakes as well. You can see here, upwards of a 2.0, 2.1 earthquake here. Another tremors here as well at September lobe, Mount St. Helens. But it's not over, guys. It's not over till the fat lady sings. Guess what? The fat lady sings at Mount St. Helens. Yep. Sorry, guys. The fat lady sings at Mount St. Helens. What's going on? Helens is about to erupt. Mount Rainier is about to erupt. Fact. Fact. Look at this. This is Studebaker Ridge on the north side of Mount St. Helens. Look at the VLF waves here. The VLF waves prove positive that there's a lot of magma coming into Mount St. Helens. A lot of magma. a ton of magma, whether they want to realize it or not. Now, I apparently didn't download one other seismogram that I'm going to find right now and give it to you. I'm going to show it to you. That other seismogram is at September lobe, but it is the seismograph at September lobe is a 7-channel seismograph. One seismogram channel here is showing you the VLF waves at Mount St. Helens at September lobe. What I'm about to show you is another proof positive that Mount St. Helens is about to erupt. Okay? Just a second. Let me show you this next one. This might blow your mind. This may very well blow your mind, guys. This is seismogram BDF CC01, September lobe. Look at the activity here. The wavier the lines, the more activity there is, and the chance of earthquakes is greater. They're still not showing us all the earthquakes at Mount St. Helens. Look at this activity here. This kind of magma inflow into Mount St. Helens would cause many an earthquake here. But on the other seismograms, they're not showing hardly any activity at all. Look at that. This is a ton of magma coming into the magma chamber last night. Between 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. We should be seeing a lot of earthquake activity here, and yet they're not showing any at September lobe, East Dome, or any other seismograms. They're not showing it. Mount St. Helens is preparing to erupt. Mount St. Helens is also steaming. We've talked about this before in other programs. I did an exhaustive study and relayed that information to you about 3 weeks ago. Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens are preparing to erupt. Fact. Now, USGS said there was only one tremor at Mount Hood. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Because at Timberline, look what we're showing here. Mount Hood Timberline, guys, the seismogram is coming from Government Camp. Timberline is a seismograph at Government Camp. The same seismograph was relaying a 0.5 tremor. Look at all the tremors and harmonic tremors as well. Mount Hood is shaking. Mount Hood is shaking, guys, all over. Let me show you Mount Hood, Palmer Lift. Palmer Lift is over on the south side of Mount Hood, but it's higher up on Mount Hood. Palmer Lift is a ski resort on the southern flank of Mount Hood. Look at what the seismograph has to show us here. Harmonic tremors and earthquakes here at Mount Hood. It's more than just a 0.5 microquake at Mount Hood. Tremors and earthquakes are happening here. You can see it here. 2.0s and I believe upwards of 2.5, 2.61 earthquakes as well at Mount Hood. I can show you at least 3 or 4 other seismograms here at Mount Hood that show you activity. It's all over. It's literally all over, guys. All of the volcanoes all over Washington, and Oregon are active. Now it's 6:15 Eastern Time. We've been on the air 2 hours. I don't want to belabor this subject at all. I can show you more seismograms up and down Oregon. I already showed you Bachelor. I was going to show you Sisters Volcano and Crater Lake as well. I could show you Newberry Volcano as well. All of these volcanoes are active. Each and every one of these volcanoes is active and moving, whether they want to admit it or not. Whether they want to admit what's going on or not, they're active. And these volcanoes could erupt. These volcanoes could erupt, guys. And I'm not kidding. Does anyone have any questions for me? I know I showed you a lot of activity all over this planet today. I've given you information about what happened in Minnesota. I've given you information about the officers in Salt Lake City. I should say Salt Lake, north of Salt Lake in Fremont, Utah. Again, the funeral for Lee Sorensen, my second cousin, will happen tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. at Utah State University Arena. I will be monitoring that funeral from home here in North Carolina. And I'll bring you more information about that funeral tomorrow afternoon, as well as more preparedness information here on this channel. Fridays are Preparedness Fridays. We talk about emergency preparedness because we are the only channel that does. No other channel will give you information about emergency preparedness but us. That's it. Sergi says the lives are just stunning. Sergi lives over in Lake Utah, south of Logan, where those officers' funerals are at. Sergi's home is rocking, snapping. Magma down beneath the surface is making his home snap. Northern Utah, on the Wasatch Fault. Incredible. And Pickering says they're monitoring all the volcanoes. Yes, they are. They're just not giving the information. They're withholding the information because they don't want anybody to know what's going on because people move away. People are not going to want to be around here for the eruption. But because the agency doesn't want people to know, more and more people will become injured and dead, unalived. Unalived in a big way. Any questions, guys? I don't think it's funny. I think it's sad. I think President Trump should let loose Doge on USPS. Things would change and head would roll. Fact. Fact. Guys, I'm going to end this program with a small spiritual thought here. I'm going over to 1 Corinthians chapter 2 for this devotional tonight in the New Testament. In 1 Corinthians chapter 2, I want to start off with verse 5. That your faith should not stand to the wisdom of men, but in the power of God. Our faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, because men lie. But our faith should stand in the power of Almighty God. Howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not the wisdom of this world, nor of the princes of this world that come to naught. But we speak the wisdom of God in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom, which God ordained before the world unto our glory. But as it is written, eye hath not seen nor ear heard, neither have we entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for men, them that love him. God is preparing wisdom for each one of us. Eye hath not seen nor ear heard, neither hath entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit. For the Spirit stirreth all things, yea, the deep things of God. For what man knoweth the things of man, save the spirit of man which is in him? Even so the things of God knoweth no man, but through the Spirit of God. I said this before, I'm going to say it again as I've said before. We need to stay prayed up. We need to stay full of the Spirit of God. God's going to reveal his will individually for each one of us. If we are holy unto him, if we obey his commandments and stay holy unto him, we need to be spiritual to learn spiritual knowledge of God. But God is willing to reveal it unto us if we have the Spirit of God within us. Brothers and sisters, I think I've said enough. Pray. Pray to hear God talk to you. Pray that his will be effective within you, for you and your family. Pray to God that you will know the things that he would have you do to prepare for the day of his coming. As the scriptures say, no man knoweth the time or the day. It's coming, but it's coming very soon. Brothers and sisters, I pray that God will bless each one of you. May God be with you this day and night, forever and ever. God be with you until we meet again. We will see you tomorrow evening at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a good night, everybody. Much love. If anything else happens today, we'll be back with you tomorrow as soon as the information becomes available. I'm going to try to do a members-only chat in the morning, sometime between 10 and 11 a.m. in the morning. So those of you that are up, please join us for that members-only chat tomorrow morning on Emergency Management Associates. Have a good night, everybody. God be with you until